Good afternoon. I'm Jacob Pumphrey with MuleriderAthletics.com, and I'm joined alongside Southern Arkansas University Director of Athletics Steve Browning. And Coach, a lot has transpired over the past week or so, and we just, me and you got to talk, and we think it's probably a good idea just to kind of have a little forum here to kind of, just kind of lay out all that's been happening. I know we've had fans, student athletes, and just people in the community reach out with different questions. And so, as we said last week, it's crazy might be a good word. It's kind of been pretty hectic, pretty crazy. What update can you give us on the front of Mulerider Athletics?
Right, and I think we'd all, it'd be cliche to say it, but we are uncharted waters, and we all know what's happened in over the last 4 or 5 days. I don't think anybody could have predicted this. Ultimately, where we are at in Mulerider Athletics is, the Great American Conference has elected to suspend all activities in the athletic departments indefinitely for right now. I think as you continue to see what's happening across the nation, more and more conferences are shutting down for the year. I know with the CDC announcing that you shouldn't gather in groups of more than 50, it kind of puts it in perspective for you. But with all that being said, the biggest thing was looking out for our student athletes, looking out for our coaches, but ultimately looking out for our fans too. I know people look at it and they can say that playing a baseball game or a softball game or running a track meet outside it's not that bad. Well, it can be. It might not be for our student athletes, and yes, they are healthy, but what if they contract it? What if they bring it back? What if they bring it back to a coach, and a coach brings it back to a faculty member or a staff member who cares for a sick mother-in-law or father-in-law or whatever the case may be. So I think the bigger picture here is we followed suit with what the NCAA recommended. And it put us in a situation where ultimately we had to decide to make a decision to cancel or suspend all sports-related activities at this time.
And Coach, you talk about the decisions made by the NCAA, and then as the Great American Conference followed suit, I guess you could say that the first big question that come up for many, especially from the student athlete's point of view, and rightfully so, was eligibility. What can you give us, in terms of eligibility and what the NCAA has decided on a Division II level?
Right. Well, we met with our athletes at 6:30 on Thursday night, last Thursday, and fortunately within 24 hours, the NCAA stepped in and declared that all spring sports that were in season right now, they'll get that year back. And I think that, like you said, Pump, that was the big question was, what are we going to do? Are we going to get our year back? And there was, uncertainties. I think as a conference, when our administrators met to ultimately make the decision to suspend all play, we felt that the NCAA was going to do the right thing and would step in and say, we can't control this, and would give those years back. And of course, like I said, I applaud the NCAA and how quickly, because that changed a lot of people's mindsets. They went from not knowing to at least now we know. So what that means is basically it's not just seniors. I know everybody gets caught up looking at seniors and having that year back, but it's seniors. Juniors will be juniors again. Sophomores will be sophomores again. Freshmen will be freshmen again. So at the end of the day, one thing is for sure, at least our student athletes and our coaches know now where they stand. Now the hard part's going to be, deciding how to move forward from there. With seniors who are set to graduate and or take on new jobs or whatever the case is. And I think those are all questions that will still, be answered daily, for a long period of time. But the good news is our athletes will get that year back.
And so obviously talking about current Muleriders, but when it comes to potentially future Muleriders on the recruiting landscape, what stipulations have been put in place by the NCAA that allows coaches to still contact prospective student athletes?
Right. Well, they across the board, NCAA has put in a recruiting ban. That's Division I, Division II, and what that recruiting ban is through April 15th. And what that is basically there'll be no off-campus recruiting that can take place. There'll be no on-campus recruiting, so we can't bring student athletes onto campus or prospective student athletes onto campus. We can, however, we can still text, call. We can still be recruiting. What that's going to do during that time, obviously, one is, I think if the NCAA is going to step in and say you shouldn't be having practices and games going on and running the risk of transmitting diseases, we really don't want to see coaches. In order to help protect our coaches, we don't need them on the road and so forth. So with that being said, I think it's important that those high school freshmen, those high school seniors out there that would be incoming freshmen or junior college transfers, we can still recruit. We can still contact you. Our coaches can still be in contact. It's just going to be we can't bring you on campus and we can't come see you. And with that, we can't sign. We can't. There's no national letter of intent can be issued right now. No grant and aid. So all that's on hold. And I think it's probably a positive thing because it's also going to give everybody time to kind of reflect and also process what's next.
Sure.
Are seniors going to return to programs? And now with the NCAA following suit, are junior college transfers who were set to transfer to a four-year school, are they going to hold at their institutions they were at? So I think it's going to allow time for things to kind of play out, and instead of people reacting quickly and making judgments, one way or the other, they're going to have time to kind of process, which I think will be a good thing.
And Coach, this time of year, especially with multiple outdoor sports going at one time, there were several events that Mulerider Athletics had scheduled. Obviously, the end of the year award show. What can you give us from the standpoint of obviously those events? Are they going to happen? And what we can expect from that area?
Right. Well, just from the campus landscape, just so people know exactly where we stand. Our campus, following spring break, will go to online courses only. The good thing is, as of right now, our campus is still open for our students to be on campus. They can live in the dorms. There's still housing, and our administration over there in Aramark is doing a great job of taking care of not just our student athletes, but our students in general. But with that being said, campus is following kind of the 8-week protocol that the CDC has put out, and until May 7th, all events on campus are canceled. So any of those alumni events we had, alumni baseball gathering, alumni softball gathering, those will be suspended and postponed, hopefully for a later date. You mentioned it, the biggest one is Mulespi's. That's a huge way for us to kind of pay tribute to the year in athletics and to our student athletes. And I think the good thing we need to report to our student athletes is, your department and along with the athletic administration, still going to be looking at ways to honor our student athletes, because obviously at the end of the day, we still had sports that finished. We had fall sports that completed and had great years, and we had winter sports that had completed and had great years, and we had spring sports that were in the middle of having great years. So, there's still, at the end of the day, there's still a lot to be proud of, and we want to make sure we find the proper way to honor coaches, honor student athletes, and honor programs with the year that they did have. So, in the near future, we'll be looking at how we can still do that, how we can pay tribute to seniors who did finish their eligibility, who won't necessarily be a part of that waiver to come back and play next year. So I think that's the most important thing right now is for us to still continue to see how we can honor the success that Mulerider Athletics has had this year.
Certainly. Coach, we appreciate your time, and I think I can probably speak on your behalf when I say this. We just want to thank our student athletes, our coaches, all the people that help make Mulerider Athletics what it is. Because, like you said, the sports that have finished up, it was great years, great opportunities to be involved. A lot of memories were made, and to the sports that were cut short. We know you guys, the hard work and effort that you guys put in each and every day. It's what makes our job fun, and so we definitely appreciate you guys. And from myself, take care of one another, look out for one another, and we hope to see you on the other side of this, rooting on the Muleriders, and we'll catch you there soon.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Jack.